All right, now do you guys want to say hi to YouTube? Hi, YouTube. I hope you guys are doing well. Hey, welcome to the Nisemonogatari series, episode number 7, I guess titled Karen B. Honestly, I appreciate all of you guys for being here. I hope you guys are practicing that self-care, Twitch chatters as well. If you guys have the opportunity to, make sure you guys subscribe, follow, make sure that, you know, if you guys are enjoying it. Nisa is just called the Monogatari series on that. Oh, thanks so much, Light Milk. Yeah, but I'm also kind of curious about the subs in that, so I just went with a site that or someone that's currently hosting it for us. So I was like, okay, let's just go with it. The ISP might drop. I'm gonna give you guys a forewarning, and for Twitch chatters and YouTube people in the future that are like, why are you looking everywhere? Because I'm trying to make sure that the ISP doesn't just drop to 0 and completely end the stream for us. All right, so we're playing a game. We're playing a game of chicken here against the ISP. So if you see me suddenly stopping for no reason, not giving any analysis, the purpose being is because the ISP is dropping and we're trying to save it. Is there TOS on this one? Yay or nay? Because if there is, I'm just going to do that. Do let me know. Just 3 seconds. All right, just remind me whenever we get there, Geek Me. I appreciate it. All right, guys, 23. Keep spamming it when we get to like the 20-minute mark. Appreciate you all. Why don't we just jump into it? Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
These guys, it's like one of my Japanese animes. What's with
Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. And
it's like one of my.
Hold on, there we go. Appreciate it, and him. I really appreciate it. But one thing I wanted to go ahead and ask or say is there's one thing that's making me a little. There's one thing that's making me a little not uncomfortable, but I'm kind of curious about, which is what boundaries does Ara-kun actually have with the sisters? And I mean, in terms of just like in general, the way that like he will go out and interact with them, or even like physical boundaries. For example, right? The Monogatari series is the one novel that I'm so sure about. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm kind of curious. Like throughout this whole interaction, we've seen his interactions with the snail girl. Yeah. What I've seen, none. Right? Boundaries. What is that experience? Because like I'm even to the point of like how far, because we've clearly seen him cross a lot of fucking boundaries and a lot of stuff that will probably get addressed in future series, because clearly the show loves to go ahead and prepare stuff. But I'm like, well, it get to a point where doing something as sublime as like you know, childish as like, oh, let me go ahead and like put on my chapstick, right? I'm gonna open up my chapstick and slowly put it on because it'll help me get rid of a curse. And then all of a sudden you start hearing like Aniki, oh yeah, like, you know, like fucking like some gotcha bass drop, right? As like it's slowly wait, hold on. We got to do it, right? As like slowly you get like, you know, the pervy, like, you know, like hidden camera effect and like the like that type of thing, right? And then like it switches over to like that camera right there, and it's like completely normal, like the hands shaking and whatnot. I can totally see some weird fucking thing happening like that because it's his own fucking mind or perspective as to how shit is going on. So I'm just curious about like how far he's actually willing to go without like, you know, crossing any of those boundary lines that may be called into question. I know. I think Gachi. I think or good Aniki needs to come in and save us from degeneracy that may happen in this show. But also, who's your favorite sister, chat? What's funny is she actually has a really good fighting sense, like, or a decent fighting sense at all. The way that she positioned herself. I mean, I'd cover my chin more, but still. Chat, genuinely, and I think this is something that I'm curious about, so I'll ask it to the YouTube comments as well. Hey, which one's your favorite sister out of the dynamic duo that this is, right? Eldris, find an Aniki emote and we'll throw it on here, man, because we need that gotcha representation. Karen, Suki, I mean, she's sick also. She's not an optimum. I mean, yeah. Potalamus, dang. Everyone jumping in here. And why? What makes that your favorite sister? Yes, this is happening in the background. We're not going to listen to the OP just because it makes life 1,000 times harder for our editors. She does do more shorts. It's Karen, but all my social media is Sugi. Aww. Sorry, I'm mildly entertained by watching this show without actual lyrics or without hearing the song, you know? She's strong. She can beat me up. Paleag, thanks so much for the follow.
Japanese enemies.
What a time to come in. There's like no audio, no nothing, and I'm just like
my Japanese enemies. What's with these guys? It's like one of my Japanese enemies.
Appreciate it, mate. I really, really do. Appreciate all the follows, guys. It means a lot. How you doing? How'd you find the stream? So on and so forth. Anyway. Da, 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 da. Otacon jump scared. My only thing is on this fighting stance. She has a very bad weakness in it, right? Hold on, chat. I think I need to go ahead and show you guys. So for me, it's like, how do I even state this? Okay. We're doing this. I'm using the shitty camera to show something here, right? So the way that she's like presenting herself here is like with this look forward, right? She's granted she is centered, but this like being out forward. If I was fighting her, I'm sorry. One check to that leg. One check to that leg. What's up, Kraith? Oh, how you doing? I know. Welcome to the old cap. One check to that leg and that's game. That's fucking game, dude. Like literally, because like if you check a leg correctly, that leg is going numb because that's where all her power is. The other one, if you look at it, it's like more positioned to go ahead and throw a kick. But I'm sorry, if I check that leg before you're able to go ahead and twist to throw that kick's going nowhere. I'm able to go ahead and catch it and just break it, dude. Like, it's an interesting fighting style, but I'm kind of curious as to how she's fight. If she's just fought people without retaliation, i.e. only going after individuals that she's comfortable going around and never met any resistance until now. Or, I know it's a leg check. Or if it's like, hey, you know what? This is like my own unique fighting style, because even then you're still leaving a lot open. Anyway, thanks so much for the hydrate, Craig. I appreciate it. Geek me. Also, hold on. Phalanx, sup, mother scrunchers. Found this stream from a while back from watching Overlord Reacts. Phalanx, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad that you're here. Hey, we don't have to speed up Overlord. We can genuinely just take it one step at a time. So I appreciate you being here, man. Anyway.
私の状態？ああ、確かに通常じゃない。頭はぼやっとしているし、体中はほてるように熱い。服が今にも燃え上がりそうだ。あちこちがだるくて、一歩踏み出すだけで倒れそう。
Sounds good, Chris.
から水分が飛んでいるのか、兄ちゃんの姿もまともに見えやしない。次に瞬きしたら、もう二度と目を開けないかもしれねえな。つまり、ベストコンディションだ。
I'm sure about that.
妹じゃなきゃ惚れてたかもな。
兄ちゃんじゃなきゃ手加減できたかもしれない。
That's not something that's not something you say to your sister. That's not something you say to your sister. You don't say, if you weren't my sister, I'd fall in love with you. That's you know how many boundaries that goes through. Oh, because then for me, I would start to question every interaction I've had with them as to whether or not it's falling into that, like, dude, you could say I love you to your sister in a non-platonic way, but you're not going to say, hey, if you weren't my sister, I'd fall in love with you. There's a difference in that, you know? Like, oh, yeah, caught. I mean, it's Ara-Ara-kun.
次のバスが来るまであと20分か。兄ちゃん、救急車呼んであげようか。
冗談。救急車に乗るのは。
Oh God, dude.
お前ら。
嘘。なんで立てるの？死んでもおかしくないはずなのに。絶対に道場以外では使うなって言われた技なのに。お前はさっさと破門されろ。邪魔すんな。
And my dude just taking it.
ところで兄ちゃん、体がホテルってなんか響きがいやらしいと思わない？
思わねえよ。
だって体がホテルなんだよ。
お前は僕の後輩か。
後輩誰それ？
僕が知る限り最高の変態だよ。
Good kick. Good. No.
おい、お前様よ。言っておらんかったかな。動揺やら焦りやらがダイレクトで伝わるのと同じように、お前様の痛みもまた同じ割合でわしに通じるんじゃがな。
Okay.
もうちょっと。
Okay. But I will put. Yeah, I'm exploding because I'm like. I'm kind of wondering. I'm kind of wondering, is this series done with the purpose of actually exploring the, say, the turmoil left by vacancy through an external power source trying to come in and go in and fill it, and the impact it'll have ecologically through family systems and interpersonal systems? Or is this just a way of saying, hey, you know what, we're also going to go ahead and try and like sexualize these characters and make sure that you know that our main man, our main character here, yeah, even his sisters, because who wouldn't have that kind of a dream, right? It seems as though it can be regarded as both, right? That's why I'm like, it's one or the other, and I'm kind of down for both. I actually don't even mind like where it's going. As long as we don't see anything, it's okay.
どうして大人バージョンの時にそれを教えなかった。
Bro, closing your guard. Good response. Good question.
兄ちゃんを殴る私の拳の方が痛いよ。
バカ言うな。痛いのは殴られた僕の体だ。
兄ちゃんが私に勝てるわけないだろ。
カレンちゃんが僕に勝てるわけないだろ。
降参するなら今のうちだよ、兄ちゃん。
そのセリフは随分と遅い。
拳が痛いから殴るのはもうやめる。
Yeah, nothing about kicks though.
やるじゃん、いいか。
So let me tell you why that kick is absolutely fucking worthless. And I hate to go ahead and go from like therapist to full on like you know, MMA coach. That kick is absolutely fucking garbage because every single time you kick, you're gonna be slowing down if it makes contact, right? It's fancy. It looks fancy. What, like, you know, if you ever see someone do that, you might be intimidated. Pero se ve genial, exactamente. Se ve genial, but it doesn't mean it's a fucking effective. Like, if I see someone doing that, I'll fucking take that first kick Eddie Gordo kicks. I'll take that first kick because that means that the rest are just gonna be complete garbaggio, dude. I like these fighting analysis. Like, honestly, if you see someone doing this, take the first kick. Yeah, it'll hurt, but guess what? Their whole system of kicking, their whole power that they're trying to build up, completely fucking gone. Gone, dude. Because from that point on, all you need to do, if you're an expert in jiu-jitsu or judo, you have them down. They're already down there, or wrestling or whatever, right? If not, you can just kick them in the stomach and just, like, hurt them right there and then. Brady's taken one of my kicks to the stomach. He can tell you all about that. Like, in situations like this where I'm looking at this fight analysis and I'm also seeing the fact that he's actually guarding himself, because like it looks like he's trying not to hurt her in any way, shape, or form. That's why he's taking a majority of the thing. His face is wide open, but at the same time, he's seen a lot of openings, and like we've been able to see a lot of the openings that he's seen, and he hasn't taken advantage of them whatsoever. Like that for me is just like, That's a really bad pausing spot. Hold on.
降参するなら今のうちだよ、兄ちゃん。
そのセリフは随分と遅い。
拳が痛いから、殴るのはもうやめる。
Yeah. See, even for an axe kick like that, right? If an axe kick comes down, imagine this, right? I'm gonna use this. And he has a good blocking thing. I'd get a little bit higher because here you're still going to hit yourself. Axe kick comes down and you block it. Guess what? It's blocked right here, right? You should be able to hold it. Granted, they might do a front kick or something like that. But at this point in time, all you have to do is literally keep walking forward and they're going to fucking fall. Because there's no access for them to go and have any more power. Like, he has good blocking, but I'm like, Front kick. Spin kicks. Sweet. I would have just gone for the drop kick there or for the kick to the face instead of trying to grab him like this, because you're in for a fucking power slam. Sorry, guys. I'm just fucking analyzing the fight at this point. I'm like... Yeah? True, Eldris. True. And here's another thing. Right, and a lot of people seem this move that she did here, right? This. Her legs would not have the right amount of locking force to be able to do that. So, sweet, grab. That lock right there is not sufficient enough. That lock right there is not sufficient enough to take you down, especially if they flip backwards. All you have to do is push up and she's just gonna fucking fall, dude. Not only that, usually whenever someone does this, they have to be able to go at least have the core strength of double your weight to be able to flip you in that regard. Because like even in at least in judo and whatnot, you're using your opponent's body weight against them. In a situation like that, you're quite literally you're trying to use your body weight to flip them, and that's not how that's gonna work. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, immediately off of this whole power thing, he's going along with it in this regard. Because if that leg hold or whatever that she has on this thing, I'm sorry, dude, that's just complete and utter weakness. Like, that's not going to do anything. That's not even going to choke. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I'm like, I'm looking at this fight scene. I'm fucking breaking down a fight scene rather than anything. Because I'm just like, this for me is also telling me like, hey, yo, the physical boundaries between them is like, he's probably just going along with it. But also the physical boundaries between them is like, Like, okay. But he's leg got, so he has to.
カレンちゃんは僕には勝てないんだ。
正義は必ず勝つんだろ。だったら勝った方が正しいってことでいいんだよな、兄ちゃん。兄ちゃんを倒せば私は言ってもいいんだよな。
That's that's a really fucked up way of thinking.
はあ？何言ってんだ。兄ちゃんがいつも言ってんじゃないか、偉そうに。
僕が何と言った？
私と月日ちゃんのことだ。正しい。でも強くない。正義は必ず勝つんだから負けちゃダメだって。 私たちのことを偉そうに偉そうに偉そうに。だから私は負けない。
This to me screams a weird parataxic distortion that his sisters have built upon him, where they, in a weird way, take his praise and admiration more so than the parents. And I'm questioning where the fuck the parents are involved in this to make sure that they're like, these weird sibling dynamics aren't getting weirder, right? Because in any way, shape, or form, a parent should at least be able to go ahead and manage and take you through, like, hey, you know what? Maybe you do need mental health. Maybe like your cognitive distortions about all or nothing thinking is like not in line. Maybe the fact that you're looking at your brother and you're trying to say, hey, you know, you're the reason why isn't necessarily a good excuse, as opposed to like, hey, you know, people that may be good don't necessarily always win. And sadly, that's the truth. There are a lot of phenomenal streamers, YouTubers, whatnot, that aren't even recognized, that will never be recognized, and they might be doing phenomenal, they might be actually spreading good or whatever, but they're downplayed to a point of severity where no one really like pays attention, you know, or where they're struggling to get views, or where they're struggling to even like make it on a day-to-day basis. Meanwhile, you have other individuals who might be like getting mad at you because, as the viewer, as a streamer, because you're not willing to pay $40 for their unedited clip, which is just like an extra 2 seconds of them going yay or something fucking stupid, you know. There's differences out there, but that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. Everyone has different occasions, and seeing the world as good or bad can lead to this like black or white thinking, this cognitive distortions making, whatnot. And it's also making me question, like, how attached are actually the parents, or how involved are the parents in the lives of everyone here? Because usually a parent, you know, and this, parents aren't always supposed to be up your ass about everything. I'm just gonna be straight up about it, right? Parents should start taking advisory roles as you start to grow into your teenage years, especially when you start turning into an adult. Like, parents should stop being from like super duper controlling or whatever you want to call it to more of an advisory role as you start to grow into it, right? But even through that, parents still have to be the reality checkers to go ahead and like be like, hey, this might be wrong, or so on and so forth. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a weird kind of dysfunctional unit where we've clearly seen Ara-kun even question his place in that family unit in the Monogatari series. And now seeing this as well is just, I don't know. It's kind of making me wonder if these sisters don't have like an internal feeling about Ara-kun because of the displacement that their parents aren't in this family structure, or aren't even being seen or shown consistently or at all. They're talked about, but they're not being shown or seen. And that's kind of fucked up. And I hate to put it this way. Hey, if you were a parent to your siblings, you did a lot of great work, don't get me wrong. But that was also, you know, I hate to put it this way, but like, make sure that you're doing something for you. Make sure that you're doing something to reclaim at least some part of, you know, especially if you feel like you lost a lot of your childhood years, to take that part for yourself. And, you know, you can have hobbies. I know you care about your siblings, either younger or older, but you still do need that independence, right? And same thing going through this scenario here. This is interesting because for me, this whole thing is just talking about interpersonal dynamics and the dynamics between them, and how this can all get fucked up. Because at some point, like, you can trust on your siblings. You should be able to rely on your siblings, but your siblings shouldn't necessarily be the ones that you're laying all of your distortions on. And that's where we're going. Anyway.
そのことか。その通りだよ。お前は正しい。でも強くない。
強いだろ。少なくとも兄ちゃんよりは。
力が強くっても意味なんかねえよ。本物に必要なのは意志の強さだ。怪奇のことを許せないというその感情の一体どこにお前の意志があるというんだ。お前たちはいつだって他人のために動いている。誰かのために動いている。そこにお前たちの意志はない。違う。
私たちは私たちが正しいと思うことをしているんだ。みんなのことは理由に過ぎない。
笑わすな。理由を他人に求めるやつが正義であってたまるものか。他人に理由を押し付けて、それでどうやって責任を取るというんだ。お前たちは正義でもなければ正義の味方でもない。正義の味方ごっこで戯れるただのガキだ。
Couldn't the same thing be said about you, Arara-kun? You're not heroes of justice, you're not allies of whatever. You're just kids playing a game. And it's interesting because there's, especially during the high school times and, you know, pre or college times as well, right? There's a lot of pressure that is put on people to act and behave certain things, otherwise you are a faker. You're not real. You're not blending in with the crowd. You're going to struggle to make friends. You're going to struggle to do certain things. You're a fake. But sometimes the fakes are more real than the real person in that regard. And it's up to your own personal mindset in this regard. Hearing this, for me, it's a big reflection in of itself for Ara-kun. And I think that he needs a mirror to talk to at times, right? Because he as well is just a kid playing in an adult's world where Oshino and some of these other individuals are the adults playing in that world, you know? And people getting involved with, like, yeah, my mind is fucking swirling here. Sorry, guys.
偽物だ。お前たちが敵視するのはいつだって悪人ではなく悪役だ。違うか？違
う。何も知らないくせに勝手なことを言うな。翼さんなら分かってくれるはずだ。あの人は何でも知ってるんだから。
何でもは知らねえよ。あいつが知ってるのは知ってることだけだ。自己犠牲じゃない。自己満足に甘んじる覚悟がないのなら正義などと大行な言葉を口にするな。不愉快だ。
That's a fucking mirror aspect for you too, dude. You're always sacrificing yourself for everyone else. Senjugahara, Hanekawa, fucking, like, you know, Snail Girl, you name it, Snake Girl. You've literally been sacrificing yourself in every fucking, like, thing instead of self-satisfaction. I mean, Ara-kun should be able to look into a puddle. It's interesting, though, that he goes out there and he solves everyone else's issues, and he's giving out this monologue to his sister who might start going down the same path that he's going down under, and he solves it for her, but yet he can't solve it for himself, which is quite, actually, natural. A lot of us tend to do that. We tend to give out phenomenal advice to other people, but when it comes to ourselves, we tend to have that hard conviction to tell ourselves something. Yep. I like that he's so meta, he calls it that was actually such a good that was such a good moment, but he just had to throw in that joke. Like, that was such a sweet moment. My heart was like, yeah, dude, like, you have to relate. And then he just fucking throws it in there. Ara-kun. Every time, dude. Every time. You're wonderful. Fuck, dude. My dude looks like he's about to drop, like, Pokemon League champion. Bring out the best Pokemon out there. Kaiki.
しかし魅力がなくなったな、戦場ヶ原。普通の女子になっている。
何よ。あなたになんか二度と会いたくなかった。
Kaiki legit best character, true. So far. he's making me question a lot.
今はあえてこう言うべきでしょう。会いたかったわよ、海輝さん。
俺は会いたくなかった。普通の女子になってしまったお前になど決して。前に会った時のお前は闇のように輝いていたぞ。いや、悟っていたと言うべきなのか、実に騙しがいがあった。よせ、話し合おう。俺は話を聞く、そのために来た。お前たちも話をしに来たのだろう。違うか。 よろしい、わかった。もう中学生をたぶらかすのはやめよう。これ以上のおまじないを広げることはもうしない。あの元気のいいお嬢さん、お前の妹のことなら心配することはない、荒らぎ。あれは瞬間催眠というやつだな。崩れている体調も3日もすれば治る。それから戦場ヶ原。お前
So let's talk about that. Instant hypnosis, right? Because hypnosis is actually kind of a controversial topic in the psychological field, right? And what's interesting is the way that he framed it. Now that I'm looking back, the environment, the room that you're in, you guys might not even know this, but sometimes, is it a real thing? There's been debates back and forth because you do have moments of disassociation or a dissociative state, and that's where a lot of like psychologists and a lot of hypnotherapists try to take advantage of hypnosis, right? Some people even have like a full-on practice about it, so on and so forth. There's literature that ranges back and forth on it. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. That's my that's as much as I've read into like the validity of what hypnosis is. But in terms of hypnotic elements or subconscious and unconscious elements inside of a hypnotic state, there's hundreds of things that influence environments like that or things like that, i.e., right? That's what I was saying, Brady. It's debatable at best, right? But for example, can you get into a hypnotic state? Absolutely. You're writing down say that you're in a road trip, right? And you're driving. Do you know why they tell you to always keep looking around? Because if you're looking at the lane, guess what? You might just boom. You might literally get into that trance-like state, right? Which is why one of the big things while driving is like to always keep looking around. If you're feeling tired, just pull over and stop driving. Because seeing the constant, like, especially if it's like a lonely road, seeing the constant little lines and whatnot might fuck you up. If we're being realistic, right? Music. If you're going to church, guess what? You might get into a propinquitous state, hypnotic almost feeling, or music, people in that environment. The same thing happens in concerts and whatnot, right? Where you're surrounded by a group of people and you're feeling very chazalech. That's essentially like the vibe, or you're feeling like a certain way and everyone's feeling that way. Music, lights, the environment, when you're sitting, what you're smelling, so on and so forth. All of these elements can lead to certain states like this. That's why I'm like, an instant hypnotic state. Kaiki, I'm kind of interested about it, about the way that he's trying to go ahead and rationalize this, because it's like, that's why I think in Iceland they made a light show in the tunnel because of monotonous lights keeping people. Yeah, trance-like states essentially, and that's why it's, it's always interesting. I've read a lot of like papers on it, and I've read a lot of like differences in, for example, psychotherapy and the way that they try and use hypnosis to go ahead and like get into a trance-like state, or dream analysis, or 101 other aspects, and the debates within them. It's an interesting thing. I'd suggest anyone to go ahead and like take a reference to it. However, and I think this is why I always say like the mind is a beautiful and powerful thing. You guys ever get like a song or like a number stuck in your head? Same thing why we have modern day ad research, the rules of 7 or the rules of whatever, right? Which is like your brain processes things even at the distance, right? Say that I really wanted, say that Masters is a billionaire, right? And I wanted to make a gamble against Masters, right? And I'm like, Masters, you know what? Let me take you out to dinner. I'll go ahead and pick you up. I'll take you all around. We'll go out to like the place and we'll gamble or whatever, right? All along that path, even unknowingly to him, to the unconscious state, I might have paid actors or paid individuals walking around showcasing the number that I want him to go ahead and pick, right? So as we're walking through it, we might be having a conversation. He might not necessarily notice that there are people walking around with the number 7 or 54 or whatever number, right? But he's going to see it at least 7 times throughout our trip and throughout our thing together. And I'm going to make sure that he sees it, because by the time we get to that environment, he's going to bet on his lucky number at some point. We can do a $1 bet, $2 bets, keep raising it up all the way until he picks that number. And I'm going to make sure that I walk away with more money than he has. Subliminal messaging and signaling are like super duper important. I mean, I'll never gamble against, and like, you've seen it used in many different practices and many different processing and neurological processes as to why we even get asphyxiated to certain numbers and why people even have certain beliefs around numbers, right? Why people have like the whole like numerology aspect or messaging where they're like, oh, you know what, I have to do things 3 times for good luck, or I have to do the number 888,888 is a significant number for me, or whatever, right? Because people follow certain paths and certain trends that stick with them. I dreams and I wake up and don't know what the song is, and it gets in my head until I find the song on the playlist. Yeah, even sometimes are unconscious, like, you know, beautiful, powerful stuff in our dreams, Ray. Powerful stuff. I'll go into NLP. We'll talk about NLP after this. It's interesting. We have a True. True, Aldous. True.
随分と潔いのね。そんな言葉を信じられると思って。私にはあなたが反省しているようには見えないわ。反省の色なんてまるでないじゃない。
そうか。そういえば謝罪の言葉をまだ口にしていなかったな。それに命乞いの言葉もだ。悪かったな、実にすまない。お前たちとても反省している。悔いるばかりだ。
そんな薄っぺらい謝罪の言葉を信じろというの。あなたの言うことなんて全部嘘じゃない。
そうかもしれない。
Maybe.
あんまりイライラさせないでくれるかしら。私はこれでもとても我慢しているのよ。あなたを殺すのを我慢することはとても難しい。
そのようだな。そしてそのあたりが普通になったと言っている。昔のお前なら絶対に我慢などしなかった。
今さらお金を返してほしいとは思わない。私の家庭はそんなことでは戻らないのだから。
Bro, Sanjigahara is
俺は金遣いが荒くてな、蓄えなどほとんどない。お前に金を返すため新たな詐欺を働かなくてはならないところだった。
この町から出て行ってすぐに。
分かった。どうしたアララギ。なぜ俺をそんな目で見る。お前は俺に妹を痛められている。もっと恨みに満ちた視線をこそ俺に向けるべきではないのか。
あいつはあいつで自業自得なんだよ。あんたみたいな人間に関わるのがそもそもいけない。
それは違う。あの娘のミスは一人で俺に会いに来たことだ。俺を吊るし上げたかったのなら今お前たちがそうしているように複数名で来るべきだった。それ以外の点においてあの娘はおおむね正しい。それともアラランギ、お前はあの娘を愚かだと断定し、あの娘を愚かだと否定するのか。
正しいとは思うよ。だけど
強くはないと。確かに強くはない。だがあの娘の優しさは否定すべきではなかろう。
Is it the Power Rangers that we're watching in the back while we're having this conversation about righteousness and what is strength and what is good and evil, and, you know, what is fake and not fake, and scamming and not scamming, and, you know, what morality indicates while the Power Rangers are in the back? That's kind of I was like, what the fuck are we?
それにああいう娘がいないと詐欺師としては商売上がったりだ。
その詐欺師がどうして私の言いなりになるのよ。私くらい言いくるめてしまえばいいじゃない。昔のよ。
戦場ヶ原、お前は俺を誤解しているな。いや、誤解ではなくむしろ過大評価と言うべきか。お前が敵視するこの俺はただの冴えない中年だよ。詐欺師としても至極小物のわびしい人間だ。それともお前には俺が化け物にでも見えたか。
まさかあなたはただの偽物よ。
Yeah.
そう、その通り。
Good theme, though.
偽物だ。俺は大した人間ではない。そしてお前も大した人間ではない。俺は劇的ではなく、お前も劇的ではない。あららに、お前はどうなのかな。俺はお前に質問してみたい。お前の人生は劇
Oh, fuck. Why did just dropping that? There's nothing dramatic about me or about you. Like, there's nothing fucking special. Just straight up dropping that. But at the same time, even the way that he managed to go ahead and sneeze on in here after Oshino left and left that fucking power gap for me, it's someone that clearly knew and understood that there is like a hierarchy of like potential people that may target him or target his business that he's trying to go ahead and run. Otherwise, why was he not here when Oshino was here? And that's my big question off of that. Because Oshino would have probably smelled that, would have probably been like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? So there's something to do with that.
悲劇的か喜劇的か過激的かお前の影からはどうも嫌な気配を感じるのだがそれにどうやら妹の被害を半分ほど引き受けているようだ正気の沙汰ではない金ももらわずよくそんなリスキーな真似をする
あんた一体どっちなんだ
どっちとは
お前は怪異を知っているのか
これは思いのほかくだらん質問が来たな
He was in town when Oshino was there.
例えばお前は幽霊を信じるか幽霊を信じはしないが幽霊を怖がるという人間の心理はわかるだろう俺もそれと似たようなものだ
But wasn't that when Oshino was... Wait, hold on. Wasn't that when Oshino was already going to leave, though? Because this whole snake thing happened literally at the end when Oshino was already on his fucking way out. Yeah. Because my big thing is clearly... like... Oshino's big aspect is like, you know, he doesn't get involved unless he has to get involved, right? And I think in minors, and the stuff that he's doing, pretty minor comparatively to pretty much everything else in that regard, right? Everything else that was happening in this world. But let's say that Oshino stayed, right? In order to preserve the balance. Let's say that Oshino stayed and this guy was doing this and ramping it up and ramping up production and going from 1 or 2 kids to like entire middle schools, high schools, whatever. I think Oshino would have had to step up at some point in time.
怪異など俺は知らない。しかし、怪異を知る者を知っている。それだけのことだ。正確には、怪異を知ると思い込んでいる者を知っているだけなのだがな。囲い火鉢。囲い火鉢のことをお前は知っているか
Oh, fuck.
時代だかなんだかの怪異だろ原因不明の流行り病を正体不明の怪異に見立てた
正解だ。ただし間違っている。
My dude taking us to school here. Alright, hold on. Oh, come on, internet. Come on. Sorry about that, guys. As I said, the ISP devil is very fucking real with us here, as we often encounter... There we go. Oh, maybe. Fuck. Should be a YouTube video. The quality's already at the... It's just the internet being special. Hold on. ISP Kun. Guys, we gotta drop some Anikis in the chat for the ISP. Aniki. Aniki. It's working, guys. I better see more Anikis. Aniki. Aniki. No, I can't drop to 144 or like a maximum. Oh. Aniki, wake up. It's working.
その作者の書いたデタラメを愚かにも後の世の人間が信じてしまったのだよ。
妹のこと。だからその囲い火鉢に刺された僕の妹のことだ。何もしなくとも治るっていうのは本当か？
当然だ。囲い火鉢など存在しない。怪異など存在しない。ならばその被害も存在してはならない。お前たちがあると思うからそこにある気がしているだけだ。はっきり言おう。お前たちの思い込みに俺を付き合わせるな。迷惑だ。
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. That's just straight up about it. Like, you really think monsters exist in something like that? Like, I know the history of them, but do you really think that, like, I should go ahead and be a part... What's up, Diane? Like, I should go ahead and be a part of your delusions because of that? Like, I'm just here to make money. I don't fucking believe in this shit. I don't really care about this stuff. You know, I'm selling curses the way that any social media trend, especially if you were alive during the early 2000s, was like, you have to tag 5 friends or else the curse of the grudge is going to come after you, you know? Like, clearly, there's differences into what you would consider a curse in that regard and what your spirituality level inside of that is. That's some, like... I'm not sure if y'all remember that, but back in the day, there was a thread that would go around, especially like text messaging, whatever, that would like make you tag people, or else like something was gonna come, or a curse was gonna be placed upon you and your family, or stupid shit like that. That's why I'm like, huh. Yeah, reply or else. Like, this is an interesting debate in of itself, because if you're just using this for the like monetary opportunities, like for money, and Ara-Ara-kun strongly believes in this world, it's like, who's to say? Ooh, that's a good debate topic in of itself. All right, chat, I'm gonna throw this out there as I know I was kind of waiting for a cute ghost girl at the edge of my bed, right? I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out as a debate topic. Matt Monster strongly believes in ghosts and curses and all of these things, right? And I don't, right? We see that the Mad is like in a high fever, burning up, so on and so forth, and like, you know, like just having a really bad time. Masters believes that it is the curse of whatever, right? The Fire Lord, right? Meanwhile, I'm like, he just has a really, really strong fever. He has treatments as to how to go out and get rid of it. I have treatments as to how to go out and get rid of it. Who's right? Difference here is that Ara-Ara-kun is a literal vampire. Yeah, I know, Geek Me, but we're talking about just in a plain person perspective, right? Because culturally, he might be influenced through a cultural perspective into believing what he believes, and has like cultural cures for whatever that aspect may be. That's not necessarily related to, like, say, modern day medicine or modern day approaches, as opposed to a modern day approach where we might necessarily go for, say, medicine that might go ahead and try and get rid of it, right? And that's sort of what's interesting in both in that like singular approach is one wrong, right? For example, if we were in a modern day like environment, first world country or something like that, people might look at masters and be like, your approach is wrong. But if we were in their environment, people might look at masters and be like, you're absolutely correct, Edgar, you're wrong. I mean, so everything that Kaiki cures is just placebo effect. It could be. And that's sort of what I'm getting at. Like, if you think about it in a concept like this, does him being fake in an environment like this where he's curing people even through fakery actually make him, or like putting curses or whatever, right? Make it bad, when a matter of fact it's all just, as he's putting it, just a delusion in their mind. While other people who might be a part of that world or a part of that spiritual belief system might believe that he's genuinely doing something bad. And that's a big conversation to just break down in of itself, you know? Like, Kaiki over here going into some really deep realms, and even in psychology, guys, there's this debate that always happens. Psychology, right? A great majority of the psychological foundations were based, and I hate to put it for essentially, when it first started off, upper class white people, if we're going to be honest. That's sort of how the foundation of psychology came to be. When psychologists started finding out that, like, you know, we labeled grief, we labeled what, like, certain narratives and schemas should be, right? This is what's healthy, this is what's not. The moment that they started to see other cultures and whatnot, oh, unhealthy, oh, mental disorder. Guess what? For them, that was normal. For them, that was a part of their natural grieving process, the way that they cried, the way that they expressed themselves, the way that they, you know, did certain ritualistic items might have been totally normal. But because the basis as to what we did normal is only based on the foundation from where it came from, it was completely unexposed. It was like a completely untouched area, you know, going into realms like this. Even nowadays, it still happens where psychologists that are only based in like one specific area say that, like, a psychologist from Asia, right, from Japan, were to come into the melting pot that is, say, where I'm living at, they'd be very confused. They'd be probably worried about the way that people express themselves, you know? And now trying to become very based, yeah. And that's why I'm saying, like, even in stuff like this, it's interesting to hear the different perspectives that are constantly battling with one another in this regard. Because at the end of the day, you can pick anyone's sense, and you could be true. You could also be wrong. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to go like... It's just an interesting topic to go over because the more you think about it, the more you're like, yeah, but I mean, both of you could also be right and wrong at the same time. Anyway.
こいつは偽物だ。戦場ヶ原の言う通り、本人も言う通り、劣等感と一生向き合うことを決めている誇り高き偽物だ。
Fuck it, dude.
ましてお前が半分引き受けているのだからな。完治まで3日もかからないかもしれない。どんな方法をとっても
No, go off, Ed.
大したものだ。だがそれだけにあららぎを
Appreciate it, not Smith.
お前と俺とは相入れないのだろうな。水と油どころではない。火と油だ。
どっちが火でどっちが油だ。
さて、お互い火という感じではなさそうだが、ではルビジウムと水と言い換えようかな。この場合、俺がルビジウムだ。
僕が水か。ならば火はきっとカレンと月日のことを指す。火と火、重ねて炎。ファイヤーシスターズ。
携帯電話を渡して。
お
Bro, you're buying a new one.
どうする？これでは中学生の子供たちに対するケアもできないな。顧客の連絡先もわからなくなってしまったのだから。
私はそんな知らない中学生たちに対するケアなんて求めてない。
Oh, that's...
荒木くん、今から私世界一ひどいこと。
Senjogahara, mommy. Interesting how you're able to absolve... You don't want him to do what he did to you onto others, but yet you don't care what others... Oh, Senjo. Senjo. How can he sense that Ara dude took half of that curse? Yeah, I mean, it could also just be like an instincts type thing as well, you know? And that even adds more layers onto his character, which is beautiful.
騙される方も悪いのよ。私は正義の味方じゃない。悪の敵よ。
I mean...
そもそも被害者へのケアなんてどうせあなたにそんなことはできないわ。やろうとしても結局もっとえげつなく騙すだけ。
騙すだろうな。俺は詐欺師だ。償いだって嘘でする。お前らは理解したくないだろうがな。俺にとって金儲けとは損得ではないのだ。
あなたのそういうところが。
俺のそういうところがどうなんだ。無言か。本当につまらん女に育ったな、戦場ヶ原。昔の前は劇的ではなくとも最高ではあったぞ。
Yeah, he's honest and a liar at the same time.
贅肉にまみれ重くなったな。
うるさい。昔の私には何を言っても構わない。でも今の私を侮辱しないで。荒木くんは私を好きだと言ってくれている。
Interesting that since she was weightless or whatever, his reference is like that she's heavier. Doesn't necessarily have to mean that like she's thicker, you know, but like specifically like she got her weight back, so of course she'd be heavy. That's an interesting way of putting it. It's like two truths and a lie inside of that, and the like, you know, and the truths might be written as like, oh, okay.
今の私をよ。だから私は今の私を気に入っているの。私は今の私を。
Why do I have a feeling that you might cut your hair though as well or something, dude? Like I'm scared for you, Senjo. I'm not even gonna lie. For future orientation.
お前たちはそういう関係か。そうか、そういうことか。ならばもう何も言うまい。馬に蹴られて死ぬ気もない。
Please don't.
それでいいというならば償いはしない。俺もあえて金にならないことはしたくないからな。この町から黙って消えよう。明日には俺はもういない。それでいいだろう、戦場ヶ原。そうそう、戦場ヶ原。いいことを教えておいてやろう。
いらないわ。
かつてお前に乱暴しようとした男の話だ。車にひかれて死んだらしいぞ。お前とは何の関係もない場所で、お前とは何の関係もなく、そして何のドラマもなく。お前が気に病んでいる過去などその程度だ。決別するだけの価値もない。今回の件からお前が得るべき教訓は、人生に劇的なことを期待してはならないということだ。
どうせそれも嘘でしょ。
私のことを今朝まで忘れていた男が私に乱暴しようとした男のことを知っているはずがないじゃない。
戦場ヶ原、ことを平面的に捉えるな。ひょっとしたら俺がお前のことを忘れていたということの方なのかもしれないだろう。
嘘だわ。
嘘だろうとどうだろうと、所詮この世に真
In a way, oh, I hate to put it on, in a way that's sort of a big thing. His dialogue, it might come off like, ooh, how do I even put this? This is a fucking like minefield in of itself in the way that like to word this. In a fucked up way, he was trying to give her closure. In a fucked up way, right? Where it's like, hey, the guy died, all right, time for you to move on or whatever, right? Because let's be honest, not every ending is dramatic, and that part I'll absolutely agree with him on. Bro, I'm sorry, you and your partner are having issues and you guys are taking a break. Sorry to put it this way. It's not like dramatically you're gonna like go over the top and serenade her or serenade them and get them flowers and magically they're just gonna fall back in love with you when they're already starting to date other people, like dramatic finishes or dramatic endings don't always happen, and sometimes we have to be okay with that, with the fact that life may just be may just be a boring resolute nothing, where the endless struggles of day in day out, getting up, going to work, the existence of the interpersonal connections and the drama inside of that might just be as dramatic as your life gets to that point, right? Where the most dramatic aspects in someone's life, and this is why we go through the whole peak, might be in high school, which is why a lot of people peak there, and all of a sudden their expectations as to what the future may be is just filled with the self-personal drama that they fulfill on their own end, because they want something in order to go ahead and keep their usefulness around, because they're not able to go ahead and rationalize that usefulness comes from within. Usefulness comes from whatever you want to go ahead and see yourself as, not so much the drama that you surround yourself with. And that's a powerful aspect to go ahead and talk about and mention, that like life is not always going to be dramatic. You're not going to have the most dramatic and perfect ending. You might have a good ending. You might have a shit ending. You might have a whatever ending. And for most of us, it is going to be a whatever ending, in any situation. And meeting up with a friend, you might have a fantastic time or whatever, right? You get back home, might be just a whatever kind of night. You just chill, go through your routine. Right? Because how many of you guys are actually conscious from the moment you wake up and don't automate the process of making your bed, brushing your teeth, taking a shit, taking a shower, all of that stuff before you even get to work or you're at school, or say you might have to come back into consciousness and be 100% aware of your surroundings, of what's going on? How much of your life is automated in that regard and not just a part of the routine that you've subformed it to be? How many of you guys are even conscious of how you're breathing right now, of what that breathing pattern entails? Doesn't have to be super dramatic. Our life just automates things, And I think that's a big aspect in all of this, Driving is automated for me, so I kind of wake up at work. Yeah. Sometimes I try to optimize my mornings to save times, and that's a good way of trying to go ahead and like wake yourself up and be conscious of what you're doing. For example, if you're brushing your teeth, do you brush with your right hand or with your left hand? Do you start up front, work your way back, or back to front? How are you breathing while you're doing that? So on and so forth. I dare people to try it. Dare people to try and think about when they're waking up, taking that deep breath, feeling every single breath that they take, and so on. Right sock, left sock, so on and so forth. And what does that automation process mean, right? That's what I'm saying, is not everything in your life is going to be dramatic, because a major part of our lives we've learned through either cultural perspectives or societal expectations to automize. And in Western life, and I think Brady may agree with me on this here, the speed of which you live life is very different. I think this is the number one thing. For example, if I were to just take a quick trip over to Mexico, very different than the speed of life here, very different than the speed of life in Europe. And through that means the whole dramatic aspect of that changes as well. In Europe, it was a lot calmer than it is here. Here, it's just, for example, burnout for the most part, at least in my experience. In Mexico's a little bit chiller as well, at least in the field that we're currently in. I'm thinking about putting the kettle on first and so on and so forth. So I can make tea without waiting for water. Yeah. So the reason why I talk about this is because not a lot of people actually go through the conceptualization and the thinking of events like this. A lot of people go ahead and, like, you know, sublimate this, or go ahead and, like, you know, like, don't even think about it because it's not a part of their everyday routine. They just wake up, they're glad that they woke up, and they go on with their day. But yet actively thinking about steps like this, I'll tell you what, it makes you a lot more in the here and now. I think that that's a big word that a lot of psychologists use for that. Good morning, Anne. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue, because that's yeah, that's a big truth bomb to drop there.
心配するな。お前がかつて俺に惚れていたことなど別に浮気には値しない。今の恋人に対し誠実であろうとするあまり、俺を逆恨みされても困る。繰り返そう。過去は所詮過去に過ぎん。超えることにも追いつくことにも価値はない。お前ともあろう女がくだらん思いに縛られるな。せいぜいそこの男と幸せに過ごせ。さらばだ。
お前、あいつに惚れてたの？
何それ？荒木くんは今付き合っている彼女の処女性を確認したのかしら？そんなわけないでしょ。ありえないわよ。ただのあいつの勘違い。思い上がりも甚だしいわ。気持ち悪い。ただあの頃の私は私を助けてくれる人がいたら、それがどんな人間であれ王子様のように捉えたでしょうから。あの詐欺師を多少なりとも好意的に見たことは否めないわ。まだ一人目だったし、いつか話したことだから別に蒸し返すつもりはないけれど、もしも荒木くん以外の人が私を助けてくれていたなら、私はその人のことを好きになっていたのかもしれないわ。
Which makes me even question this relationship now that you're bringing it up, Sanjugahara. Because what makes him the exception? Straight up. What makes him the exception when you've called out a lot of the red flags and boundary crossings that you've noticed with him? If you're saying that someone that saves you, you go into a parataxic distortion and you enable this whole prince-like behavior, what makes him different? In fact, when you're seeing the fact that he keeps hanging out with Hanekawa, right? And there's clearly some boundary crossing issues there. He keeps hanging out with the monkey girl. He keeps hanging out with Hachikuji and all these other individuals. And there's clearly some boundary stuff that may be happening there as well. What makes this individual different? Is it the fact that he saved you that you're willing to go ahead and try so hard to make this relationship work? If you were to just give up on this relationship or stop trying, because for me, every single time, thanks for the TLS reminder, every single time that we've seen this happen, it's always been you that's giving a majority of, like, if we were to go ahead and, like, say two people giving 100%, you've been giving 150% to try and go ahead and, like, try and make this relationship work. Well, some days, you know, he's okay with tickling a ghost girl, or taking a bath with his underage vampire loli, or, you know, going with the snake girl and being in really uncomfortable positions playing Twister, you know? In love with him if she saw him saving someone else. By that, I mean essay on Hachikuji, dude. Dude leads a weird life. The difference is that he would do it for anyone. But is that really self-care, Patalamus? Or Patalamus? And that's the big thing in that, you know? Well, if you're okay with, well, a lot of the concepts in the show, I think you've watched and you've said you were a little uncomfy by. If you're okay with it, because it does expand on that. There's a lot of TOS, yeah. I think that's the major thing in that. Anyway, TOS times, guys.
そう考えたら虫唾が走るわ。私を助けてくれたのは荒木くんで本当に良かった。
星野に言わせりゃ、お前が一人で助かっただけなんだろうけどな。
そうかもね。帰りましょう。もう日が沈む。
Okay, 23, got it.
そうだ、戦場ヶ原。帰る前に例のお願いってのを聞かせろよ。僕は一体何をさせられるんだ？
別に大したことじゃないわ。あの詐欺師に言われるまでもなく、それは決別するだけの価値もないのかもしれないけれど、私は今過去に対してけじめをつけた。そのつもりよ。
けじめか。
褒めて。
それが引き換えのお願いなのか？
違うわよ。 だいたい荒木くんごときに褒められても嬉しくもなんともないわ。ただ荒木くんが果たすべき当然の義務を忘れているようだから教えてあげただけ。
お前は本当鉄が何かでできてるのか？
See, even in situations like this, fuck, dude. I don't think I've ever had to be reminded that I'm someone's boyfriend or partner. You know? That's all I gotta say, dude. Like, that's a... If someone called me out like that, they're like, I'm just reminding you of your duty as my partner, as my boyfriend. There's clearly some fucking, like, expectations that both need to go out and talk about for shit to be met. For shit to be healthy. As a relationship therapist, if I were to hear this dude, I'd have both of them sit down and actually talk through their shit. I mean, he's with a different girl every episode, so gotta remind them he's taken. Yeah, I would trigger some introspection, absolutely. It'd also be like, dude, what the fuck? Goedemorgen. 23:55.
言いたい放題言われちゃって今だってひどく傷ついている。もはやまともに立ってもいられないくらい。
嘘つけ。詐欺師かお前は。
本当よ。だから。
Hey, yo, hey. You guys didn't tell me there was TOS there with hand holding.
今夜は私に優しくしなさい。
No, 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 no.
翌日、果たして海域が行ったところの3日を待たず。
No, hold on. I need to go ahead and put the. Let me give you guys. Hold on. No. No. I need to go ahead and throw this out there, guys. If your partner literally confronts a big traumatic element in their past, you know, where they've been going back and forth, then I hate to put it this way, give them a day. I know it might suck. I know you might be in the moment because you're like, hey, why don't you like show me tonight or whatever. Please don't. Because think about it this way. Are they really processing their feelings or are they just displacing it at that point? Are they going ahead and just using you as a way to go ahead and like take out some of those emotions and not be able to go ahead and like, you know, talk about it? And I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I'll be straight up about it. Like, I've fallen in situations like that, right? Where we're talking and they encounter an event in their life and, you know, they want to go ahead and bond over the moment that was shared there. But in reality, it's like, yo, you just fucking handled a lot of your past. Are you sure that you don't need time to literally just process that, right? Because to me, it's like filling up a hole, and not that hole, but filling up a hole in your life that, like, you might need some fucking time to go ahead and just, like, just think, you know? But that's, yeah. Uncensored hand-holding, ugh. Immoral in my stream, ugh. Right? Uncensored booba touching, a little different. Kidding, Twitch, kidding. Yeah, don't try to fill up the metaphorical hole with the physical one, or vice versa, whatever it is. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my headphones here. They sort of came apart a little bit. Unless... There we go. Perfect. All right, let's go.
この日の朝にはカレンの
Let me see.
体調は戻って。
Oh, you guys can't see it. I'm so glad. It's not reflecting off of my screen there. I thought it was reflecting off of your. I thought it was reflecting off of my. So I'll describe it. He walks in to find both of his sisters completely naked, cuddling. I'm just going to describe it. There you go. I think we can take it off now, yeah?
それ
Yeah.
から僕はカレンと月日に
I'll watch it through your glasses, Ed.
大雑把な説明をした。海域はすでにこの町にいないこと。よって
Normal
これ
sibling
以上
moment,
の被
right?
害は出ないこと。
兄ちゃん、ちょっと出かけてくれよ。お兄ちゃん、かなり出かけてくるね。
Aw.
どこ行くんだよ、許しまい。
詐欺師がいなくなっても おまじないがいきなり消えてなくなるわけじゃねえんだろ。悪化した人間関係が回復。
Wait, we're in episode 7. Does that mean that we're going to focus on the other sister for the next couple of episodes? My dude got pervy with this sister, like these 7 episodes. Is he going to get pervy with the other sister in the next couple of episodes? Is that what we're about to watch?
するわけじゃねえんだろ。これ以上の被害が出ないってだけで、それで被害に遭った子が救われるってわけでもねえんだろ。だったらそういう後始末も私たちのやりたいことだから。
正義の味方ごっこも大概にしろよ。
ごっこじゃなくて正義の味方だよ兄ちゃん。正義の味方じゃなくて正義そのものだよお兄ちゃん。行ってきます。僕の誇り、僕の自慢の妹たち。
Only 11 episodes.
きっと何よりも本物に近い彼女たち。ファイヤーシスターズは火のついた花火のような勢い。
The horny train never stops with Tadaraku. What a good show. Here, let me see if there's anything in the ending here. There's a preview, but we shouldn't really see the preview. We don't want to get fucking spoiled. Guys, what can I say about this other than the fact that, like, Nisemonogatari and the Monogatari series is literally, like, interesting. It always has a lot of good, like, topics to go ahead and talk about. Different aspects of I guess like etchiness to talk about, and you know whether or not like something would be next episode. Ed might drop the show joking, but maybe. Is it really that bad? Holy fuck, don't scare me like that. Is it really that bad? Guys, don't scare me like that. I'm over here like what? Is it really that bad? The next episode counts as TOS. Nah, you're not gonna drop. Depends on how bad it is. Anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you guys. I hope you guys partook in some of the discussion elements, because there's quite a bit to go ahead and process inside of that. I hope you guys keep practicing that self-care. With that, though, YouTube, make sure you guys subscribe. Come join us on Twitch. We tend to do this every Friday and Sunday.